the 5th arrondissement, not far from the Jardin des Plantes. A half-star hotel with a half-star price, 40 francs a night, $6 leaving me another 40 francs per day with which to feed and water myself and go to movies and smoke cigarettes and sit in cafes, and I had no idea how to finish that sentence. I was operating without an agenda or any preconceived stratagem. I had just graduated early from one of the state universities in the Midwest. I had already accepted a scholarship at a law school that guaranteed its graduates a clean trajectory into the higher echelons of national life. The fact that the money Dad had spent on educating me could now be justified meant I was finally deserving of his highest praise. "You've done good, son," he told me. What was not good, according to his worldview, had been my announcement over Thanksgiving that, as soon as the Christmas holidays were behind us, I would be flying the Atlantic. My father, a distant, taciturn fellow, not a monster, not a terrifying disciplinarian, but absent, even though he never traveled and was home most nights by 6 p.m. An insurance man with his own small company, himself and a staff of 3. His own father had been a career soldier, always referred to as the Colonel. Dad told me once in a flicker of rare candor, after my mother died of a virulent, fast-killing cancer, that he spent most of his own childhood in fear of that martinet of a man. Dad was never stern with me, especially as I was always the careful kid, the good student. I kept my head down and turned myself into a grind, hoping to please a father unable to show me much in the way of affection. My mother was a stoic, a quiet woman who taught school and seemed resigned to her chilly fate with the man she had agreed to marry. She never had an argument with my father, always played the dutiful housewife, and raised me to be a good boy destined for bigger things. Mom interested me in books. She bought me an atlas and got me curious about the world beyond our hayseed frontiers. Unlike Dad, she was carefully affectionate with me. I did feel her love, albeit in her own measured way. When she got sick, I was just 12. My terror of losing her was vast. From diagnosis to death was a 6-week nightmare. I was only told that she was in the endgame of her cancer 10 days before she left this life. I knew she was sick, but she listened to my father and kept denying the finality enveloping her. The day she admitted to me that her time amongst us was coming to an end was the night before she was rushed to hospital an hour away from us in Indianapolis. I walked around in a state of silent trauma for days afterwards. That Friday, Dad arrived unannounced at school, conferring in whispers with my homeroom teacher, then motioning for me to leave with him. Once we were outside, he told me, "Your mom only has hours left. We have to hurry." We said little more to each other on the drive to the hospital, but my mom had slipped into a coma by the time we arrived. My dad let the oncologist on duty do the official thing and confirm that there was no hope she would survive the evening. Mom never came out of the coma. I never got to talk with her again, to say goodbye. A year after her death, my dad announced to me that he was marrying a woman named Dorothy. He'd met her at his church. She was a bookkeeper. She came from the same reticent side of the street as Dad and treated me with aloof courtesy. When I went off to the state university for my first year of college, Dorothy convinced Dad to sell the family house and buy a place with her. I was actually relieved when this came to pass, just as I was pleased that Dad had acquired this chilly woman. It took the pressure off me to be there for my father, even though he himself never expressed a nanosecond of neediness. Because that would have meant showing vulnerability to his son, and Dad could never do that. Dorothy told me that I should consider the guest room my home. I thanked her and used it on the big holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas, but otherwise stayed away. Dad and Dorothy made all the right noises when I got into that pinnacle of law schools. But as a man who distrusted the big, bad world beyond his own narrow experience of life, he'd never once left the country, except for a stint in the Navy during the war. He was not pleased when I told him I was heading to Paris. "This should have been discussed, son." "I'm discussing it now." And I quietly explained how all those summers clerking for a local law firm and the 10 hours a week stacking books at the university library